attach that to the table. So if my table is shaken, it's not going to fall off. And I've had that problem with the base that's supplied. Something that's very stable. Let's remove the old zombie gimmick. I have a little knot tied in the corner of my silk, so I know exactly where it is at all times. I know that the corner with the knot is the corner that I want to have in my hand. At the beginning of the routine, this can be just draped over the table, and it's a veil, so there's some suspense and mystery. You can come over, uncover the ball, and show the ball without revealing the gimmick. Let me show you that with the other silk, and then we'll begin showing you some of the moves that I use in my zombie routine. There's the gimmick. As I uncover the ball, my middle finger is going to go inside the gimmick. Watch how I pick up the silk. I pick up the silk with my fingers behind. I just want that one finger on the inside of the cloth, my middle finger. That's the one that's going to enter the gimmick as I pick the cloth and the gimmick up. Starting over again, in this position, my fingers enter the gimmick in that position. Now I can show the ball, come back over, and let the ball rise by itself. And how I do that is I motion with my other hand, because this hand is going to do the dirty work. Also, a little touch that I do is I match my hands. I'll put my middle finger of my left hand behind the silk so my hands don't look different to the audience. There's a kind of a symmetry with the way I'm holding the cloth. Now the ball can rise up, and you'll notice how I'm keeping a little bit of a bend in the cloth here. This is important to give it the illusion that it's floating under the cloth. If it's too straight, it looks like it's on a stick. I come up, and I pull back, come up, and pull back, and now we'll explore some of the moves. With an opaque silk, when the ball floats up to the edge naturally, because my fingers are folded over, the silk naturally covers the gimmick. You'll notice that the gimmick is covered by a little fold of the silk. Now I can swing the silk back and forth and turn around in a circle. This is a very nice move, just letting the ball and its weight lay on the silk. You can also take both sides of the silk in one hand and let it swing like this. This is very pretty, and it looks very effortless. It looks like it's just cradled in the silk. Coming up, letting it go back down. A nice move is having it suddenly shoot up and catching it with the other hand, actually taking your hand out of the gimmick for a second. A little mime, pushing it back down, and now replacing the gimmick in that very same position as you pull the ball down. Let's look at that again from this side. Up. So I'm showing my hands free during the course of the routine. My finger goes back underneath, engages in the gimmick, but the audience is not seeing that. They're seeing the front. I pull down. Now the arm moves. Bringing it up, I place the gimmick against my arm and my finger pointing out. This makes my hand look less cramped. That's what it looks like from the back. I'm going to take the silk in my left hand, drape it over my hand, around, into this position, pulling, continue pulling in that circular motion. The left hand comes down. Now I can allow the ball, and I think you can see the gimmick right through the silk. I'm controlling it with my hand here and letting the ball slide down the edge of the silk. From the back and underneath, this is the action. The left hand, in the meantime, controls the silk and makes sure that it doesn't flash the gimmick. You don't want to flash the gimmick to the audience, and that's what the left hand is here to be doing. And this is what the sequence looks from the front. Down, all the way down, then all the way up. Now I'm going to bring the gimmick behind my elbow. This move's a little tricky at first, but give it a shot. You bring it around behind, and if you laid the silk right, it'll peek up over your elbow. Let me remove the silk so you can see what's actually happening. Down, up, then back up behind the elbow. And it's that elbow, and you don't want to move your right hand that much. It should look like the ball is doing all of the work on the down, the up, and the up behind the arm motion, and then it comes down and around. When you're using a silk that flows instead of a chiffon, the effect is uncanny. Down, up, around, up and behind. You can pause there and then let it slowly come down and around and up. And then you can come back into business. Let's switch back. Now the around the back. This is one of my favorite moves. It's kind of this serpentine double spiral around the body. I start here, going to the left side of my body, and the ball is way out in front of me. I bring it down, I look around behind, and then I come like this and bend my body to the right side. It looks like it's coming up because that's the first time they see the ball. Comes back out front, then back to my head. Oh, the ball's going around, behind, and then up from the other shoulder. Let me do that so you can understand the series of moves and the body English, because I'm really working my body counterpoint in contrast to the ball's movements. I bend to the left as I go to the left. My head turns, watching and believing that the ball is traveling around, continuing up around my back. Then I lean to the right as it goes to the left, and the left as it comes up over my right-hand shoulder for the full double spiral. And when this is done quickly, in a smooth motion, it really creates that illusion. Another thing you'll want to do while exploring this move is to start low. One of the tendencies is for people to start too high and they don't get this spiraling action up. So play really low. Try to get 3. Let's see. 1 around the legs, maybe the second one around the middle, and the third one, whoa, around the head. So experiment with that move and see what you come up with. Oops, what's wrong with this picture? My silk is sideways. You see, in the course of setting down the different scarves and picking up different scarves during the teaching part of the routine, I disoriented myself, and that's why we have that little knot. So even if we're switching hands during more advanced moves, we always know that that silk is going to be straight up and down. Now let's explore some vanishes. The first vanish comes when the ball is pulling you around and you place it between your legs. You're taking the gimmick and placing it right between your legs and letting go entirely of the gimmick. I'll show you with the other silk. Now, my study of pantomime has really helped me in creating a character out of this ball. As I pull it back, it comes right between my legs. I leave the gimmick there, and I can come up. As long as I keep my legs together, I can show that the ball is gone. Now, if I find my little knot again on my silk, I know exactly where the silk is straight up and down, and now I can look for the ball, and in the course of looking for the ball, I can pick the gimmick back up again with my finger and bring it back out and continue the routine. Another vanish is the behind the back vanish, because you can actually secretly and temporarily vanish the ball by placing it under your arm. You can also do arm floats. So there's a lot of different places where you can create interesting effects floating the ball. If you're wearing a black costume, you can even get the ball to float from arm to arm during the course of the routine. But you have to check your lighting and check your angles on that one. I'm just bringing the ball from arm to arm and back again. That's a very interesting little touch to incorporate into the routine. So another vanish is if you have a top hat, and I have one here. During the course of the routine, you bring the ball up to this position and twirl the ball, loosening it. Loosening the ball. I'm going to switch silks here so you can actually get the effect of the ball vanishing. So let's say I start by conjuring the ball from nothing. Maybe I begin the routine with the ball between my legs as I pick up the silk, I load it there, show nothing, and at the end I'm going to ditch the ball into the hat. The ball is floating, I'm pulling it towards the table, it still looks like it's there, and now the ball is gone. And I've put the gimmick in a flip stick position up my arm. With the clear silk, the translucent silk, let's say I started the routine by just picking up the silk from my table, loading the ball in an off moment during like a little relaxation moment there, showing the silk totally clean, free of trickery, getting my fingers into position, coming down, getting my finger engaged in the gimmick, and then opening my legs as I step off to the side, looking this way as the ball starts floating. I continue my routine, floating the ball, dancing the ball, bringing it up on the edge. Towards the end of the routine, making a pass over the ball, loosening the ball from its cork, and you can feel it when it is. And now you have to be very careful that the next couple of moves that you do not make the ball pop off the gimmick. So I have to be very careful here. But it's in the nature of the effect. I go down, up, pull sideways, back. At this point, I flick my hand, side view, disengaging the ball into the hat. It's nice if you have a little pad in the hat so it doesn't make any sound. The gimmick here makes it look like it's the ball still under the silk. So you can still get animations as long as you don't let that hang out and be pointy. With a silk that looks round, and try to create the illusion that it's still round under there. Now I'm going to flip stick the gimmick by bringing it into my hand, by moving my middle finger into my palm. The gimmick goes along my arm. As I turn sideways, snap the silk up in the air, and I can really let that go when it's free. And now for the cleanup, I let the silk hang as long as it possibly can, bring the gimmick in, back down, and I can just fold up the silk and set it down for a fabulous, mysterious vanish to the zombie at the end of your routine. Here's one of the most important pieces of advice given to me by my father, Jack. He said to me, Jeff, get a haircut. No, he never asked me to cut my hair, but what my dad did say was this: successful people like to do business with successful people. And that's image. Image is very important. Your media image, your media profile, your image in the business community, in the magical community. The word image is I, mage, I, the magician. When you're on stage or off stage, it's important to look the part, to dress the part, and to carry yourself in a professional manner. not just with the people that are hiring you for the show, but the people that you're working with backstage. I always treat the backstage technicians, whether they're spotlight operators or sound engineers or the lighting designers, with the courtesy and the respect of someone that would be booking me for the show. So always dress for success, look the part of a magician, and remember, successful people like to do business with successful people. Now, there are many ways to begin and end a zombie routine. You can begin the routine by just having it on the table, covered with a silk. You could have it loaded behind your table, and after you produce a silk, you could steal the gimmick out and produce it that way. Experiment and play. You can ditch it in the hat. You can ditch it in a little bag servante behind the table. A lot of performers will ditch it in their tail pocket. If they're wearing tail pockets, they can get the gimmick down inside of their coat and into a tail pocket. So that's really up to you. It's a real personal choice on your beginning and your ending. You don't have to vanish the ball during the course of the effect. There are a lot of moves you can do without the silk or the gimmick. One of my favorites is just having the ball float away for a moment. Again, mime and acting are essential here. From hand to hand, just up and down, and a nice mystical pass over the ball creates the illusion that the ball is floating. And this is all done with the aid of the hole that's in the back of the ball. This is really sweet because it's the free and bingo. I mean, it's always here, it's always ready to go. You can pick the ball up and boom, the ball is floating. Then you can set it down and go into your routine. But let's look at a few of the ways that you can make the ball animate in your hand without the gimmick. The thumb goes in, the fingers can just wiggle. You could just hold it there for a second. By moving the thumb in a circular fashion, by keeping the fingers wiggling, it also creates a nice effect. And you'll notice I'm going from down to up. Up, 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 up. The mystical pass, the hands just circle the ball. You'll want to watch this on video to see where your thumb should be in relation to the rest of your fingers. To get the ball to float from hand to hand, I'm switching my thumbs as the ball goes across. Remember, with acting and believing that the ball is a character, you can make that ball heavy and carry it like it's heavy. The audience will believe it's heavy. Or you can carry it as though it was very light, like a soap bubble. But that's another personal choice that you have to make for your routines. This is really nice if you think the ball is heavy. If I'm creating the illusion that that ball is heavy, then making it rise is that much more impressive. Making it rise and fall. And then rise and switching thumbs across the back and having it fall and be heavy. My index fingers, middle fingers, and ring fingers are wiggling, and there's one point where my ring fingers touch the ball just for the transfer and then keep wiggling. I try to make it look like the index finger, middle finger, and ring finger are always just touching the ball. There's that 1 second transfer, and then it comes back over. And from the front, that's a very nice move that I developed after looking at all of these other wonderful moves with the zombie ball. So with the gimmick, without the gimmick, producing it, vanishing it, or just picking it up in the middle of the show and making a beautiful routine with the zombie ball, there's a world of magical levitation to discover with just this simple prop. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to see Neil Foster perform his zombie routine, and it was flawless. He did an incredible sequence of moves. Oh, I have another finale for you, and this is a good finale if you work with a partner. You're working with a partner on stage, And it's always nice to show a little bit of a chemistry between you and your partner, that they're more than just handing you stuff or taking it off stage, that you're working together. So at the end of the routine, your partner walks on stage, you float the ball for her a little bit, and change it into a bouquet of flowers. Oh, yes. There you go, and thank you.